Good morning, pilot. Ready for your cargo mission?
Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here.
Transporter, loading has started. Stand by.
Alright, we're here at Bolton Field, which is where we ended up last time. We've got our cargo set. I'm going to go ahead and actually get ourselves prepared, hopefully, to go where we need to go. We're going to India 66, so I'm hoping I can find that airport. Alright, so before we take off, we're going to take a look at where we're at and take a look at what our reality is, because it's frankly pretty ugly. So we're here near Columbus. I'm trying to kind of keep heading where I was. I was down near Cincinnati, but I ended up flying back up. Came from KILN, so this is almost bringing me back about the same place. We've got 41 nautical miles, as you can see. Very short runway, but again, we're a Cessna 172. That's the whole point of any of this. Everything is set. So the biggest issue is this. So if you remember, when I finished my last episode, I didn't land well. Well, while Microsoft Flight Simulator forgave me because I have crash detection off, Neofly did not. So I bought some fuel, and then I was getting ready to figure out what I was going to do, and realized that my aircraft hull integrity was 0. So, and to repair the plane is $1,000 per percentage. So we spent $66,000 because I felt I could do that. Oh, we've got a little plane flying over. We do have FSLTL running. That got us to 66%. So again, it's not terrific, but it's kind of what I can do right now. So the point being, there is a consequence for stupidity. And that's part of why I just did what I did, because last time I'm like, oh, I have this flight stick, I'll maybe give it a go and I'll fly, and it's only 40 miles. And then I realized, like, why I have a Cessna with a G1000 is I want to take off, I want to land. But basically, when I turned off my autopilot and then was kind of coming in to land and pulled my throttle back, suddenly I went nose up and like 20 feet off the ground and like landed, but it was like negative 1,600 feet per minute, which I'm sure was a crash. And so therefore the plane had no integrity, so it had to be rebuilt. So here we are trying to fly back, and now we're going to have a long job of working our stuff back. Alright, so that should be released. But let me get, actually, let me turn the autopilot off, but let me get the flight director. We'll get nav, and then we'll just have V speed. But again, nothing's on right now because we don't have the autopilot on, so the brake is off, and we're going to get rolling. So there we go. Nope, nope, nope. I don't want the GPS, because that's... Well, I don't know. My autopilot's not on, so I guess the GPS is okay, but... I don't think I have my flaps down. Let me change that as we're rolling. That'll help a little bit. Alright, we're getting about to the point where we're airworthy, and there we go.
Pilot from dispatch. Fly safe.
Okay. So we're going to keep our engine going. Now I'm going to go ahead and engage the autopilot, and we got the V speed, and yeah, we're going to put ourselves 500 feet per minute. Sounds like a great rate. Yeah, got a little bit of flaps on. So I'm unsure if, basically, because I kept playing with the trim to trim myself out, and then eventually I'm like, you know what, I'm going to get myself on autopilot. and that's what I did. And obviously I came off autopilot to land, and it's not like I was on autopilot. And the only other thing I can think of is somehow the throttle did something unexpected, like put things in reverse or whatever, but I don't think it does that, because otherwise I would have been doing that on the runway. And this isn't like a TBM where I've got a little bit of leeway with beta or whatever. Let me pull the throttle back a bit here. Yeah, we're not really impacting. There we go. Because just like a regular throttle, you know, on the HOTAS, the Thrustmaster Flight Stick X that I've got, you know, it takes a little bit. So I did add fuel, as I think you saw. So I have about 99 or 100 pounds. I think I had 101 pounds, which basically is 10 gallons or something. But that's, you know, almost double what I had when I came here. So if I just have littler flights like that, that'll work. But I have to be super careful not to crash, obviously. All right, so let me get myself leveled out. But the benefit here then is, like, I've touched none of the flight controls, and at this point then hopefully I can do better at landing, because I felt like I was fighting. The plane wanted to go up, and maybe I had too much airspeed. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's been a while since I've flown the Cessna. I've been flying the 737 a lot, and so you just don't get that type of reaction. You know, I've flown the TBM 850 I think once. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I think I did it once with the flight stick. Alright, now we're going too fast, so let's back this off again, because we're getting some red. But yeah, we have the flaps back, and everything should be where we need it. Obviously the plane is flying nice and level. I'll stick up here at 2,000. That was the other piece. I was at like 1,700, so I was really close. I need to remember to turn on my landing monitor ahead of time. Like, there were just lots of things that went wrong with that last episode. But, you know, that's why we do career series, and that's the joy of it, is there's consequences for your actions, as opposed to just, yeah. Now again, I would have probably failed. Like, if it was a virtual airline, it was too heavy of a landing. Like, all in all, I'd probably be redoing what I was doing regardless. So, you know, that's always, there's some reality there if you're doing any of that versus just hop in the simulator and go. But yeah, we'll see. So, but we're literally flying back over the same country we did last time, where my intent is kind of, you know, head west, south, I don't know, just somewhere. I just couldn't find a good flight out of the last airport, and so that's why I took the one here, because it was really tempting with the cargo options I had to do that, because I could get both a passenger and a cargo load and really maximize things, and I did. I mean, I made 8,000 where I'm only going to make about 4,600. I'm transporting medicine, and this is Clinton. So Clinton, Ohio is where we're headed to. So it's a tiny bit, in case you missed it, it's a tiny bit northwest of the airport we came from. But, you know, we might be able to see the airport we came from in as we're approaching. Who knows? But definitely looking forward to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We're getting close to about 2 months from release for that. I'm holding off on some possible additional immersion things. I'm seriously considering say intentions, even though I'm like, I think Beyond ATC will be good enough, and I'll be happy. But I've started taking a look at it a little bit more based on some real world pilots that have been pushing it in some of the Discord spaces I'm in and explaining, kind of at a base level to those of us who aren't pilots, like why it's so much better. But it's more the extraneous stuff that they've added around it that just really has impressed me that I didn't know was there. Alright, so I apologize for some jump there or whatever, but yeah, someone came down and was chatting with me, and obviously I don't need that in the audio and so forth. So back here, not expecting any other things, but I wasn't necessarily expecting that either. But we'll go ahead and get over to Clinton and get this thing landed. But the challenge, obviously, with Neofly becomes, it's going to hold me accountable. But now what I'm really walking the fine line of is, am I going to be able to keep the airframe in a good enough state that I can still function and use the plane while I try to make up enough income to be able to fully repair the plane? Once again, I mean, this is a rented plane. In theory, I suppose I could have been like, sorry, here's your destroyed plane. I'm sure I would have had to pay them too. I mean, let's be honest, but either way, it was something I wasn't aware that would happen, but when I saw it, I'm like, well, that's why I'm doing Neofly. So as opposed to, maybe trying to find a way, and I don't know that there was a way. I mean, I think I would have really had to like cheat something or whatever, but I don't think there is a way. Like if you do damage, you do damage, and that's kind of what it's trying to find and trying to give you. So I apologize. I'm like looking at Neofly stuff. I'm looking at Navigraph stuff and just moving things around. So we're down, 24 nautical miles. So yeah, we're not going to make huge movements around the map, certainly. It's just not the nature of where we're at now. But I mean, the disappointing part of what happened is, I was obviously $66,000 closer to something, whatever this next something might be, a different plane rental, this, that, or whatever. And now I'm basically almost worse than when I started, because I mean, when I started the company, you get enough money that we were able to buy a $30,000 Cessna and still have some money left or whatever, the Cessna 152. But so I just do need to be more careful and probably start getting set and so forth a lot earlier than I was, because once again I was somewhat flying it probably more like I should have 737, where it was like, all right, I'm like 3 miles out, let me turn off autopilot. Like, this isn't using ILS. It's not doing anything like that. I mean, I think it can, but for these I'm not doing that. So I really probably should have been hand flying this thing way earlier than I was, and then I would have known, like, I could have slowed the throttle down more, because that's the unknown part, is how much speed I needed, and just getting used to the throttle settings and so forth for that. So we're coming up on Jeffersonville, Ohio. That is probably there that we're seeing it, where it looks a little more populated, or there. It's one of those. I mean, there's a couple population centers, but the name of Jeffersonville is kind of it. I think where a train track crosses through to, but we're probably not going to see that until we're significantly in a different position. But now we're within 20 nautical miles. So, but yeah, I think I can see that little lake on my Navigraph, and So yes, so Jeffersonville is still a ways away. It might not actually even be either of those, but yeah, we've got some farms down there. But yeah, so this should get me within spitting distance of 10,000. But what I'd like to do is really kind of almost get back up to the same spot and then maybe think of a significant repair again of another 40, 50,000, because once again, I'm sure the airframe is going to wear a bit. I think I was down to like 94% or something. And that's the other issue. Like, my engine's 89%. Like, nothing happened to the engine, thank goodness, or I would have had a bigger problem. But I was like, well, I should get it more than 50% viable. And I don't know what the real situation is, because, I mean, I know there's like the 100-hour inspection and some of the other career mods, which I assume aligns, because I've seen stuff like that just in real aviation materials I've looked at of the 100-hour inspection and so forth. So I'm assuming you can go at least that long without any big airframe problems. I mean, you should be able to go significantly longer than that, but when you slam the plane into the ground, obviously that's not the case. Alright, I feel like I'm getting close, because like my Neofly map, my little plane icon's getting really close, but we're still 15 miles away. So it's that anticipation, a little bit of panic. But yeah, now Jeffersonville is behind us, by the way. Like, it's like there. Oh, that is kind of artifacty, the way that's showing up. Well, maybe not. Maybe those are little fins, now that I really look at them. I was like, that is odd. An odd texture there, but I think I'm just not sure what I'm looking at. And I'm sure it's something for the aerodynamics of the plane and so forth. Yeah, obviously that's the pitot tube, which is, used for some of the instruments and so forth. But so if I'll be able to tell where the other airport was, like if I start to see it on my Navigraph chart as we get closer, I'll let you know. Because in theory, we should be flying by it to our south a little bit before we're landing. But again, I'm not going to give myself the opportunity to crash again by distracting myself too much. Because obviously the other thing I want to see is what the configuration of the runways are and so forth. But we're getting real close to 10 miles out, and right now I'm not seeing it on my Navigraph chart, but I am pretty zoomed in so that I can see things very clearly. But I think we're coming up on some of the city stuff. And I know, again, I've got filtered out in Neofly that I'm just going to paved runways. I'm not doing grass fields or anything like that. So at least I know I'm not looking for anything of that caliber. And I am doing the Msfs map enhancement, so that is the scenery we're loading down below. That's definitely part of what I'm wondering, is just what the quality of things will look like. And I don't know if something like Msfs enhancement will be needed, or will that continue to function, because that's more impactful than I think some of the other things. I mean, I'm saying that without really being certain that's the case, I mean, obviously a plane that is a mod that is loaded in and you're flying obviously is interacting pretty heavily with the environment too. All right, I think yes, I see. It's Wilmington, Clinton, and that's right. It was runway 21 that we were headed toward. I see a Bean Farms, but I do not see KILN, so I don't think we're going to get to see it. I mean, I guess if I zoom out a bit. Yeah, actually it's closer than you would think. It's basically just on the other side of town, but it's still kind of up there a bit. But I got a further out view now so that I can see where we're headed. Just trying to think ahead a little bit of, do I want to, what do I want to do? How do I do this better? Like now I'm nervous, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, we're within 5 miles. And the thing is, like, it's probably flying me to the end of the runway. So what I probably again want to do, before I do that, let me, can't read the buttons. Let me put the nav back on, but let me set my heading bug. Can't see. Yeah. I probably want to kind of head out a bit and then come in. So now we'll pick heading. Because I want to hit an intercept with the runway is what I ultimately need to do. And that's really kind of what I'm not doing, because I'm basically flying in a way that is just vectoring me to the end of the runway, which obviously doesn't help anybody. Alright, so let me change my Navigraph situation, because then that will give me kind of the control I need a little bit more. But at this point, really, being 3 miles out, I really probably just need to manually take this over and, whoops, I did the parking brake. That's not going to help anybody. Alright, so I'm going to start to back this off. Going to go to the first level of flaps, but at this point I think I'm too far. So if I'm really looking at this, I think I've gone too far. So I'm just trying to eyeball things. But yeah, now we're 2 miles, so I think I see it. So let me back this off a lot more. And then, again, lower the flaps, but I believe it's there. And that will kind of get me where I need. I'm still at 2,000 RPMs, but yeah, I mean, that's definitely a runway. Just, is it the right airport? I'm sure it is, but I'm being a little bit funny. And again, I forgot my landing monitor. My God. And this is exactly the problem I had, because then as I'm doing that, I'm like not keeping the plane where I need to. Alright, we're at 70. And again, I can land at this speed. Like I ended up like dropping. So right now my throttle's like mid-point. So, that's why I felt like, oh, I can I can go higher than that. Alright, so we're at -2, -3. I'm just trying to get the flight path angle. You know, keeping an eye out on that. Alright, and we are 197 feet up. Gonna back off a little bit again. See, but that was like what happened is like instead of it just settling, it kind of ended up pulling up on me. And so I think what I need to do is let the plane really settle where I'm flaring. There we go. This should be way better.
That wasn't the softest landing I've seen.
Huh. I thought it was pretty... It was -199.
Contact ground for your
I mean, it's not
parking assignment, then
great,
shut
but...
down your engine.
Yeah, but shouldn't have really damaged anything, so that was at least a normal landing. So typically, especially at the small airports, you know, it's more about the flights and so forth here, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Get ourselves turned off so that
Transport from
Neofly...
dispatch.
Oh,
Okay,
we're now a
nice
second
job.
officer. There you
Someone
go.
is coming to take the cargo.
Can fly
I'll call you when
express,
it's done.
advertising, sensitive, secret passenger, and parachutist. Well, there you go. That's good to know. Maybe that'll help with the money. So airport fees are similar, 203. Obviously fuel usage would be similar because we were within a mile, and this time I wasn't flying everywhere in circles like I was last episode. But again, we're only getting 45.84, you know, but now, you know.
Transporter. Another cargo mission completed.
Alright.
Thanks, and see you soon.
So now let's take a look. So we're still at 66%. We're still at 89. So that is all good. And yes, Neofly basically cycles and is like ready to go right away. So that's what we're hearing back there. You know, but the issue is otherwise I get too far. But yeah, you can see we've got like advertising jobs where again, all I've got to do is go 12 miles and I'll get, you know, 2,300. So I may try some of those. I've never done one of those before, honestly. So hook the banner, then go to the waypoint, and I assume they just do it. I don't know that visually in the game there is anything, but it might be worth a try. And I don't know that an extra 7 miles, because once again then I have to come back, but God, that is almost double just for that additional piece. I mean, we're going up 1,400. I don't know, it's probably commensurate. Unstable gas. Oh, I see. So you have to... Ooh. So those are dangerous. Wow. Yeah, so I might stay away from that for a bit. Because, like, I would have made it by 1 foot per minute at this point. But again, you're flying radioactive waste, for goodness sakes. But, you know, $10,000 versus 4,200. So definitely need to graduate to those. How about that? You know, but something like this where it's fragile is nice. You know, because the other thing I think when you do that advertisement, because again we're here at the airport, so that's like sending me that way. You know, then you're able to land at another airport if you want. So like I could be moving in the direction that I'd like to go. But anyway, no point in analyzing that now. We'll wrap things up here. I'm just simply happy that we still have an airplane as opposed to last time where clearly I was in such bad shape that I probably really didn't have an airplane. That's why it was 0%. Glad we can continue forward and do it the right way. And yeah, the first officer thing honestly was a bit of a surprise. But yeah, we've got to get now 2,000 more experience, so it's going to take a while to get to the next level and unlock anything else. So as always, if you like this but haven't dropped a like and haven't considered subscribing, please consider those things. Greatly appreciated, and I will see you next time.